All right, what's going on, everyone? It's Jaron from Jeranism, back with another live video for you. It is a Globebusterish Super Bowl Sunday short show. So thank you for joining me. Should be a short show, as the title entails, because we are running with a skeleton crew. Bob, of course, as he announced last week, has work today, so he's busy. And we have not heard from Iru Landucci this morning, so I think he thought that we had the weekend off, which is fine. And same thing with Austin. So really, it's just a few of us. We are joined by somebody who's not on the regular Globebusters crew, but is here nonetheless, and that is Karen B., the best voice in Flat Earth. Karen, thanks for joining me for a short Super Bowl Sunday short show, super short on Super Bowl Sunday short.
Well, thank you for having me on your
Super Sunday,
short
Super
Bowl
show.
Sunday short show.
Too many S's going on there. Too many S's and too many twos today. It is now 12:02 p.m. on 2/2/2020, and we are about
That's right. I was looking at that. The date today is 2/2/2020, 22/22.
22:22, and the I have slow chat on, and I set it to 22 seconds, just because, it's fun. I don't know. So we also have joining us Rodrigo Ferrari Nunes. The doctor is in the house. Doctor, how are you?
Hello, Jaron. Hello, Karen. Thank you for having me. Yes, happy to join, as always. And yeah, we have some interesting stuff today that I haven't heard about. So let's see or I don't remember. So,
yeah, let's talk about it. Let's see what's going on. The plan is to have Taboo Conspiracy Ben come on sometime during this first hour. I don't know if it'll be at the end of the hour or whatever, but to debut his video that he's working on right this second. So that's why he's not joining us right this moment, but he's going to be debuting a video on this channel here at the end of this show. So look forward to that. And I guess according to what he said on Skype, and I guess I'll let Karen probably describe it a little bit, but there's this whole thing going on in the Flat Earth community right now, talking about something that they call the Black Swan. And I think I'll let Karen describe it, because I don't think Rodrigo even knows what we're talking about. So go ahead, Karen, describe it, because I heard you and Mark talking about it, so I think you even have a better grip on exactly why it's called the Black Swan. And then, if I'm understanding correctly, I think Taboo has a issue with it, although I think that the issue that he has is simply that it shouldn't be called a black swan, because he says, I think it's your every damn day swan. So, but I'll go ahead and let Karen start it off, and then we'll get into some stuff. But hello to everybody. Thank you for joining us. It is Super Bowl Sunday. As I announced on Friday, I think I was invited to a friend's house for Super Bowl. So I've got about a 2-hour drive, a little more than 2 hours. So the show's going to be short. It is a super short Sunday show. And I'll be driving to a friend's house where I'm sure I'll be asked tons of Flat Earth questions, of course. I'm sure the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app will make an appearance. And then I'll get to sit back and watch, all the Illuminati symbolism and all the Masonic nonsense, all the signs and symbols of the halftime show. I'm sure it'll be quite thrilling. But, for me, I don't know. I grew up a big sports fan, grew up a big San Francisco Giants fan, San Francisco 49er fan, and a Golden State Warriors fan. Certainly not into it as much as I used to be. But hey, it's a Super Bowl. 49ers are there. A lot of my friends
are you going to be considered a party pooper if you start pointing out programming on the commercials and stuff?
No, I think they know me enough at this point. So they should, they'll probably expect that. But one question I did have for you, Rodrigo, maybe before we get into this Black Swan thing, is I was wondering how big of a deal is the Super Bowl in other countries, for instance, where you're at? I mean, did anybody talk about it? Are people going to be watching it? Is it something that's so much of an afterthought? Nobody's having any parties? I'm just wondering how it works in other countries.
It really, as far as I know, it doesn't exist.
Okay.
Probably people may talk about it, and some people might follow, but in Brazil, people are not aware that's going on. But I'm pretty sure they show it like in the news. It's made, it pops up in the news, and they say, look at the Super Bowl show. And I know that musicians, for instance, producers, they will be watching the show to look at how the performances are made and the quality of the sound and the production. So those kinds of things people are watching, but it's not necessarily like a fan base hooting for one team or another.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. And I'm sure you know how it is here in the States. I think If I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah. I watch. Well, when I went to high school in Utah for my exchange program, we watch a lot of football, and my friend John from the family Talbots that I was staying with, he explained everything to me. He was super smart kid, and he basically told me everything about all the rules, how it worked as it happened. So we watch a bunch of TV and I learned a lot about football than baseball. I think they were more into football than baseball there.
Yeah, they call baseball the American pastime, but certainly football has taken over as far as the way it translates to TV and the way people like it. And I'm pretty sure this weekend is the largest shopping weekend for food, snacks, things like that. I mean, if I went to the grocery store right now, it would be packed.
More than Halloween, if you say.
Yeah, I think as far as snack, I don't know about candy, but I mean, as far as snacks, everybody's got some sort of Super Bowl party. Yeah, of course, beer. There's been even talk. I've heard people talking about it before to either move the Super Bowl to Saturday so that people can recover the next day, or to make Monday following the Super Bowl a national holiday. So it's that kind of a big deal here, where people will obviously get all liquored up and
it's right in the middle of what it would be kind of the season of Carnival, like in some places here where I am in Holland, they're starting their Carnival season, and in Shetland in the north, they're having their Uppelia, which is a Viking festival, but it lasts it goes all the way from late January to March. With the weekend turning around, it's madness how much party there is. But yeah, it is known as a season for this. Right after the 21st of December, the darkness sets in, things get cold, and people want to party to pass the time in many of those places. Fire festivals. Also, one thing I was going to say, we really like basketball. Basketball is more popular, I would say, in Brazil, NBA. Because we played a lot of basketball, and also video games. The early video games had the NBA games, and in Utah, my friends took me to watch, Karl Malone and John Stockton played against many people. So I watched them play against, Charles Barkley's when he was in the Phoenix Suns, and Alonzo Mourning, those guys. I saw them play in the Delta Center, it used to be called, in Salt Lake City, where it used to be cheap actually to go. Like $30, you get a seat in first 6 or 7 rows.
Oh, that's pretty funny. I think I have. Let me see. I can bring up StubHub on my phone to tell you what the price of Super Bowl tickets is right now.
It must be thousands.
Let's see. Let's say us three decided to go now. You and I and Karen B. We're going to go to the game. Let's see. Use Super Bowl code 2020 to get $500 off right now.
$500 off each ticket.
Yeah, that's what it says here. So let me see. The cheapest price we can pay. Oh, there's 3 of us. Well, these are only for 2 tickets. I didn't search for 3. For 2 tickets, the cheapest seat right now, $6,091. Each.
Is that after the $500 off?
Each. No, that's before. So at least it knocks it down to $5,500. Let me see if I can find any of the higher prices. Let me see. Search down here. Oh boy, wow, that's ridiculous.
There must be a more recent thing. Like in the 90s, I doubt it was that expensive.
No, I think this is all recent. There is some closer seats for $26,000. If you want to sit now down near the field. If you want to sit in the first lower bowl, $14,000. I see a lot of $10,000, $11,000. Pretty hilarious.
How many people fit the stadium? It's going to be totally packed, right?
Yeah, of course. I don't know. It's probably if they're playing in Florida, but it's probably 60 to 80,000. That's just a guess. That's average, I think. Yeah. So anyway, okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So yeah, it's a debacle, and it's a huge deal here, and people love it, and they think it's the greatest day of all. But let's go back to the Black Swan. Oh, one other thing I should mention before we get to the Black Swan. I know I'm jumping all over the place. But I know people might be looking for something to watch today if they're usually watching Globebusters and they're expecting a huge show, a long show. What they should check out, because we're only going to be at about an hour and a half today, and then we're going to duck out. But last night, I don't know if you guys caught it. I only caught the first 2.5 hours, but Russian Vids did a live stream on his channel with Dave from Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, talking Flat Earth and other things. I think I saw that they had over 1,000 people listening live, so definitely a big show. But people should check that out. There's plenty of content there to keep you busy. If you don't want to watch the Super Bowl, you have other plans. Maybe you want to check out. So
put your ego on the floor. So you know what? All these years, I gotta admit, they got me, and you know what? I'm not gonna be fooled again.
So anyway, it's a good stream. Like I said, I only got about 2.5 hours through, and can't believe I still have another 2.5 to go. The gravy.
That's 5 hours.
I watched most of that stream, though. It was a great stream. They talked about a lot of good stuff.
Yes, I think there's a lot of good info today. Yeah, so definitely people can check that out if they need something to watch. But let's talk a little bit about the whole idea of what this Black Swan is thing. Karen, go ahead and take it away and let Rodrigo know in case he's in the dark.
Okay, well, Black Swan is in reference to this photograph that was taken. Apparently, the camera height was very close to the surface of the water when this photo was taken, looking out at some oil rig platforms across the water. And there's two of them, one that's rather close and one that's further back. And then the one that's further back, as far back as it is, you shouldn't really be able to see it at the height, at the camera height and the distance and all that, But the thing that everybody's really going on about is how you can still see the horizon line beyond that back platform. Yeah. And so that's what this is the Black Swan photo that everybody's referring to. And I kind of agree with Taboo Conspiracy when he said in here, I think it's like, I don't know why you're calling it a black swan. It's your every damn day swan.
Yeah, it is.
I agree with that, because that's like what I was wondering. I was like, why is there everybody going on about this photo? I mean, haven't we seen pictures like this dozens and dozens and dozens of times? Like, why?
Yeah, like we have even been talking about it. Like, I think last time Friday show, I was talking about how Jay Tolan has some of these pictures, which is the horizon beyond the horizon, which is on a mountain, which is way beyond, across the United States, one of those photos. So this phenomenon of the horizon beyond the horizon is seen it's been mentioned even in the National Geographic video, right? One of the things they miss. So it is, I mean, I guess the metaphor of the black swan is that, it's like this huge exception or something like this that appears. Is that correct? It's still real, but it's an exception. And I guess the contrary argument would be that it's no exception at all. It's just what we see all the time. Correct? No.
Yeah. That's what I think. And so everybody was making it was kind of creating a buzz maybe by giving it that name, which, I'm not against everybody talking about it, because, they should be paying attention to it. And everybody's like, well, the ballers can't deny this one. And I'm like, well,
they will.
They will, because they've denied all the others. Like, I don't know what giving it a special name is going to do as far as that goes, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, in the name of marketing or something like this, I guess that's the idea, give it a name that has some traction. And then, people, maybe they're more willing to watch it, in that sense, since, the whole world is ruled by symbols and things like that, memes or what memes. That's a whole other story, because Richard Dawkins is involved with the idea of memes. What we call memes is different than what he called memes nowadays, like, these photographs that have a little bit of text on them and make a point that you can then elaborate. That's different than what some people have called memes, but still, symbols are powerful, and people tend to remember certain slogans more than others, and to communicate an idea, maybe it's not so bad to use whatever name you want, like, not zombie is something we came up with, on the stream, because, even Austin was saying, it's the kind of response you get, or Team Skeptic, when you see it, that kind of reaction that they can't stop. Something we have to try to explain or quote that phenomenon with some kind of name. And if you get a funny name, like Na Zombie makes sense, because in our explanation would be that they cannot go into the history of NASA. It's impossible for them. It's too hard.
Right.
It's too hard to think about Jack Parsons, to think about Lee Ron Hubbard or Aleister Crowley, and so on and so forth. It's too difficult for them.
Or so even to go back further and look at all the things that have led up to it. And I know Iru does the best work on talking about some of these Jesuit connections and do people in science realize where all their science came from? It's kind of the question.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's so much to look at, as you're saying here. Like, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right?
Right.
But for them, NASA has such authority that it has no history, which is quite staggering. And then you have to use, one of the metaphors would be the zombie, because the zombie seems to be focused on a single action, or it has only one thing: go or stop, or not even stop. It just goes, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's crazy because when you look at this image that I have up on the screen, again, the Bo took this photo or this video from a 1 foot observer height. And so when you go to the curve calculator and you put in that 1 foot observer height, and I think here they're showing at 5 feet, even though it was actually 1 feet. And this is something I see flat earthers do all the time, which is give the globe.
give them some slack.
We do. We always give them a little extra.
Absolutely, because we don't want them coming back and saying, "Oh, but this is," So I do the same thing. If it's like an observer height 10 feet, put in 25 feet. Because we want to give them as much as possible. So they did the same thing here, put the observer height at 5 feet. And then the maximum distance for the geometric horizon, which would be the edge of a sphere, which would be, as far as you can see, and then everything else behind that would drop off, would be 2.73 miles. Well, in this image here, you can see that this first platform, and this is why it's such a good observation, is we have the known distances to these platforms. So if this platform sits 6.21 miles away, you got to figure that the 3 mile horizon line should be about here. But then you can see the horizon is clearly well beyond the 6.21 miles. And then if this platform habitat is 9.41 miles, you can actually see that the horizon is behind that. And so, again, the problem with that is...
And also, Jaron, I think you can, if you get a little bit meticulous with this image, even with this image, put in even with a normal, kind of like the programs that we use, I know you use a kind of designer program that can measure things.
Right.
And you start drawing the gradient towards the horizon here, you would be able to see, because you have 6 miles to 9 miles. The base of the how much is compressed, those 3 miles they're compressed in just that distance.
Right here.
That has a little boat there as well. Look at that little boat there, right? It's interesting that at that, what you're seeing is like 3 miles fit just that space, and that it gets worse and worse as you progress.
Right.
So that space there that you see behind the second platform, that with the horizon behind the horizon, that is probably compressing, another
could be
15, 20 miles.
I agree. Yeah, totally agree. Could be 15 miles back there. So we're just seeing way too far. So I think it'll be interesting if we get a chance to have Taboo on, and that is the plan, at least last time I checked. The Taboo is working on a video right now. He says he's got a problem with the black swan argument, but I think what he's going to come out and say is basically this is an everyday observation. It's not like, I saw this one black swan, I thought every swan was white. This is what we see every day, and if you go out and do this yourself, and we've talked about it a million times, you can tell people all you want that they've been lied to. You can tell people things aren't the way that they are supposed to be, or they weren't the way that we were taught. The problem with it is that until somebody goes out or actually observes or actually looks into it, they just don't see what's right in front of their face. So, it'd be interesting to see what Taboo's got to say about it. He does great work. I'm anxious to see it. So that should be happening sometime near the end of the show. So what else did you and Mark talk about it as far as it goes? Just it's another clear evidence of we seeing way too far, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. We didn't get too in depth into it, but I did see a comment in chat where they said, well, it's not because there's a video to go with it. It's not just a photo. That's great. You can go to a channel called Wide Awake and you can see video like that all day long.
All day long.
All day long.
I'll go there and show people because I've talked about it before, and Dave is awesome. Also seen him at a few. Yeah, this is the one. He's got now over 5,000 subscribers. Please subscribe to him if you're not. But if you go to his videos, you can just look at video after video after video after video.
Observations and observations.
Oh, yeah. So good. Yeah. And I mean, this goes back. You can see these. I'm just showing what he's done in the last 3 months. And this takes work to go out and do this every single day. Go out and look at these power plants across the water. Let's see, do I have that on mute? Yes. But anybody can go out and look at this stuff. So, yeah, there's videos that go with all this. And it really, we're talking about, if you look at Taboo Conspiracy, let me bring him up. Oops, I need to spell correctly. So if you bring up Taboo Conspiracy stuff, he did a great, let's go videos. Yeah, so I think it's this one here. Flat Earth confirmed again, 26.45 miles and zero curvature. And this is where he really shows it well. And so I don't know if his video will be just kind of replaying some of this stuff today. So here's the video that probably somebody's talking about. That this isn't just. So again, remember that there should be a horizon line about here. So what's happening with these platforms? How are we seeing these platforms, which would be impossible, behind the curve, and they're being lifted up, and you're seeing more water being lifted up? None of it makes much of any sense when you think of what the globe edge should be.
Also interesting there, Jaron, like in that observation, is how there's some distortion in the higher kind of layers as well. The platform is getting. See how some of it's bending on the left platform. Mm-hmm. It's distorted, and it also seems that I don't know if there's mirroring happening, but it looks like there's some compression happening there under the horizon line. But it's interesting that how that wiggliness of the
this right here yeah. So anyway, we'll see what Taboo's got to say about it, but certainly is interesting. And yeah, I see this stuff all the time when we go out and make observations. We're seeing a lot of this, and you can see the horizon way beyond there. And again, here he is putting it into the curve calculator to figure out what the distance to the horizon would be. And here he is saying that the horizon is beyond the 26.45 miles. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and I would also like to hear, I think Taboo's going to jump on. He'll probably tell us a little bit about his observations there at Bear Lake, where he was at. Here's a great video showing compression.
Look at that.
Yeah, and again, if you're a glober and you go out and you see that, you call that curvature. That's just what you're required to do. You have to, when you see this, what you have to say is this boat went over the curve. And
that's why the letters got suddenly shrunken like a dwarf.
And then we go out and show that, and we say, no, this is compression. This is what's going on here. Is that this boat says Stenoline as it does here. You can actually see the bottom of the S, but they'll say that boat has gone over the curve. So it's kind of the same thing with any landmass, with any. They just always will take any kind of blockage, even though we're trying to point out over and over and over and over again that it's atmospheric blockage or compression or both, and it always is both. And I think
and in that one, Jaron, if you go back to that boat when he shows the Stena with the letters, you can easily grab that in a photo editing program and actually get the bottom boat to look like the top boat by just compressing it.
Absolutely.
Doing the Red's rhetoric trick on it.
Yeah, and you can even see the red here at the bottom. But again, they'll just look at these distant observations and say, no, these things are going over the curve. And, they'll bring up these kind of buildings, and we're showing the compression here.
Totally
you can see the size of this floor versus this one, and you can see as they start to get smaller and smaller and smaller as the distance goes away. So I'm anxious to see what Taboo's got to say about it, and then what they did, obviously, at Bear Lake. So we've got that to talk about, and that should be coming up shortly. I did see that you, let me go here. You put this into the chat the other day. Had you never seen this article before?
No, it's just kind of looking at some of the stuff on Neil deGrasse because I'm referencing on my newsletter, and I came across this a bunch of things on him, being boastful and arrogant and so on. And here apparently he's trying to just basically make things up.
Right. Well, there's two different claims in this one article. Well, one is that he constantly lies about quotes, right? He's blatant quote fabrication where he's trying to show politicians are dumb, and I agree with this writer where if you want to prove that politicians are dumb, there's a lot of quotes you can go and get, rather than to basically lie about quotes and say, oh, this guy said, oh, I did a 360 degree, I forgot where it exactly lists that particular quote. But this one here, I need help when a member of Congress said, I have changed my views 360 degrees on that issue. I need help. So that's basically a quote that Neil deGrasse Tyson said over and over again. Right, and invented. There's no, the only quote this particular writer can find that's even close is somebody saying, you have done a 360 degree turn. Waters told Hyde, "I'm a little disappointed. Never in my wildest imagination did I think you would have such a conflict in views about perjury and lying." So this quote is completely understandable. It's not showing anybody to be dumb or anything. That's something I could say to you, Rodrigo. If yesterday you were telling me you don't believe in the Mandela effect, and today you said, "Oh, I absolutely believe in it," I could say that exact quote. You've done a 360-degree turn. I'm a little disappointed. Never in my. That's fine.
But 260, you come back to the same place, right? That's the problem with it.
Oh, right. True. I guess that's what. Okay, good point. I guess it's different than a 180-degree turn, right?
Yeah, 180 degree. That way, I guess.
Good point.
The politician in the bottom, I think he's trying to say that he came back to where he was before. So say you're saying I'm a glober, and then
right. So if
I become a flat earther, and then I say I'm a glober. You said you did a 360-degree turn.
So basically, on that quote, he just he keeps saying this one. I have changed my views 360 degrees on that issue.
Meaning you didn't change it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's shortened, I guess, if you want to say that, or this person's talking to this person. I don't know. But he's done it quite a few times, and in this particular part of this article here, he says he has been recycling the same tired trope and same non-existent quotes for years, like this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Right, many times. And then the other thing that he keeps saying is he keeps telling a story that doesn't seem to be real about him being basically smarter than some judge, right, when he goes to jury duty. I don't know if you read that whole part. Basically, he went to jury duty, and he was saying...
teaching the judge how to do his job kind of thing.
Yeah, the judge was saying, oh, this guy was in possession of 1,700 milligrams of cocaine. It was found on his body, which none of this, if you've ever been to jury duty, even sounds like something... Although I haven't gone to this length, he's basically saying there was like 15 people left. I've never gotten that far before I get booted. But then he says, is there any questions you'd like to ask? And then Neil deGrasse says, yes, Your Honor. Why did you say he was in possession of 1,700 milligrams of cocaine? That equals 1.7 grams. The 1,000 cancels with the milli, and you get 1.7 grams, which is less than the weight of a dime. And then he says, again, I'm out on the street. Basically saying he questioned the judge, and the judge booted him. But this guy goes to show that the number changes all the time. In different presentations he gives, sometimes it's 3,000 milligrams, sometimes it's 1,700, sometimes it's 6,000 milligrams, basically like he's just making things up. Again, I've never really put much stock into Neil deGrasse Tyson. He got in trouble for making up a story about Coriolis. I don't know if you guys know that one. Basically, he was
the football.
Well, that one's a huge one.
The field
goal one.
Right. So everybody can be watching the game today. If there's any interesting field goals that barely miss, Neil deGrasse Tyson will tell you that it's because the Earth is rotating underneath it. Of course, if that were true, then flying from New York to California would be much, much quicker than flying from California to New York. And in fact, it's the opposite, which makes no sense on a spinning ball Earth. But the other thing he fabricated is he's told a story, and I don't have it ready or I'd be able to look it up. It's from his website, where he's talking about some ships that were down, British ships. They were in some sort of war, and they basically lost the war because they were shooting cannons and didn't take the curvature or didn't take the Coriolis into effect, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Imagine if you shot a cannon and you miss a ship to the left a little bit, then on the next shot you would just move the cannon a little bit to the right. Right. you wouldn't just continue
and if that were the case, that the Coriolis would be affecting it, depending on which way you're turning, will make a difference. And everyone will be talking about that, especially people who are in this kind of ballistics. And what we have is people saying otherwise, right? From people that work with submarines, periscopes, and different kinds of these long-range weapons.
Yeah.
Right? It's all flat.
And he says,
hello.
Iru's here.
Iru!
I'm here.
We did not expect
Hello, everyone.
you, but we're so happy you're
I
here.
don't want to interrupt.
No, we're talking about your best friend, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yes, I know him. I know this. Hello, everyone in the chat. We just came from the Einstein house, and Einstein.
That's right.
Yes.
Here in Basel. Amazing.
Oh, did you?
How was it?
Yeah, $13 for just take a look of the bathroom of Albert Einstein. A lot of pictures, the same pictures that you can find.
13 Swiss francs.
Yes, which is the equivalent to US dollars. Yeah, so it's for looking that, for see a few pictures, the same picture that you can find in Google, and more brainwashing than other thing. It's completely insane. Go to the museum of Albert Einstein. It's
Did you see the curvature, space, and time there?
We see the curvature. We see the bed of Albert Einstein, and you can interpret it that as the curvature of time space. You know how the bends. You know the the pillow is bending. You know. No, but I was listening about the Grace Tyson, inventions,
Right.
and I remember he and I have it. I think it's not worth to share the screen, but I have here like 4 conference that he planned. When the conference it's almost finished, a boy from the audience starts speak with the Grace Tyson, and it's always the same boy and always make the same questions. And the Grace Tyson.
Do the screen share, Iru. Let's take a look.
No, it's amazing. It's the same boy doing the same kind of interpretation. So the Grace Tyson is going to close the conference with talking with the boy, and the boy start
inspiring
Grace Tyson. Yeah, is going to questioning about what happened if an asteroid came to the Earth and we don't have the technology to reject the asteroid. And it's amazing. It's amazing.
Scripted questions and the whole inspiration.
Exactly. Thank you for that. And also in talking about wars and shooting, like I remember was the last week when I was researching the balloons, the satellite balloons. There is a famous tactics from Japanese that they put bombs hanging on balloons, and they use the jet streams and
to hit planes.
They send it like from Japan to California.
Oh, the balloon with a bomb on it.
Exactly, and that is history. I cannot remember the name of that missions, but people, militaries in California, they found debris from that balloons with bombs and things like that, and the military start asking what's happened, what's going on here. We have these bombs falling from the sky without planes, and of course they use the jet streams and things like that, maybe assuming that the Earth was stationary and flat, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Trying to find, I don't know where I found it. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson has a website. For some reason, I can't find it. It's not the Star Talk one. It's his own website. But that's the one where I don't know if you guys have seen that he says that he was at 9/11 and filmed it with his video camera. Have you ever seen that before? Mm-hmm. And, I've questioned before, why have no one ever seen that video? He's never shown that video. He says he was outside and filmed the plane hitting the second building. He filmed the second building falling. He was right there, involved in all of it, but I've never seen any proof of that. And then I did see this Twitter post. Did you see this the other day? I think this was just yesterday or something. Of course, he has to put this picture, with the flat Earth there.
Oh,
and then said, what was this thing? It's well known what flat earthers fear most is fear itself. So this is the kind of tweets he makes. Right. So I don't know, a bunch of nonsense. Again, this is what people like to show. Rather than, there is some good stuff. Did you see this? Iru will love this. There's probably a great deal of footage that Iru has that's almost equal to this. Did you guys see this? Let me see if I bring it up here. Okay, all right, it's ready to go. This is from Angel Demon TV. But here, this is a video. It says behind the scenes at NASA, kids. Let's watch this. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's in kind of fast motion. Them setting up the screen, of course. Here you go. Iru's shown this a million times. It's be so hard to fake the ISS footage when this is what they do. This is what they make. I mean, all this is fake. Nobody, can say, oh, we're spinning out of control with the Earth. I mean, how can how can this Earth be fake? It's like ridiculously
exactly
easy.
How they do it.
Yeah, it's exactly
what Iru's showing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then these here you see that this is just a small little model with people next to it. Wow. Again, they can show people all they want that these things are. Here you go with the moon. You got this screen up top, like you wouldn't be able to fake landings. And again, go watch the footage from the moon landings, and they're almost identical.
So what is it? What is this video? Is it a documentary about this, or is it an official video?
No, it's just an hour. Just a minute long video of how they fake space.
Right.
So the further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those that speak it. Don't know if there's ever been truer words to be spoken, but here's a person saying this proved it's all fake, and then this person says, well, it proves technology is pretty good. Explain the sky. Is it just a giant green screen? Let's see what you're
that's
sending
like
here.
not really the point there, of course. That's what you see with some of these Globers, right? You prove them, you make many points, and then they come up with something like, but is there a God? Is it infinite? Or something like completely abstract that you cannot verify at all. Like,
right. My favorite one is always, well, what's underneath the flat Earth? And it's like,
right, yeah.
Because they're okay with the fact that they just say space expands in every direction. Although I think even Einstein said basically if you throw a baseball down, let's say you threw it from the bottom of the earth down underneath you, that eventually it would come back on top of you, right? It's because they say, even though they say the universe is flat, it just gets very confusing to what the hell they're even talking about. Let's see what Uru was sending. Sorry, Uru, go ahead. What did you send me?
I send you, just for the record, the map with the mission. Of course, is Mercator projection map. That was the jet stream that they use.
Oh, I've seen this image.
The typical winter jet stream on the Pacific Ocean. Of course, if you look into Gleason map type of projection, azimuthal projection, you're going to have these winds, jet streams going in circular motion, of course. And then you have the another picture that it is from the balloons itself with the bombs, and even one of the famous stories of the Second World War, which was this kind of UFOs see in the sky of, I believe, was in California or something like that. It's also related with this kind of tactics, and then you have the final. Bombs. Yeah, the final image is one of the globes with the bombs hanging over or hanging down. And that picture is from the actual mission narrative from a site from World Stories. But it's interesting. I mean, when you start looking under the flat Earth scope, you maybe start to understand better, But the balloons is not just using for launching rocket from the upper atmosphere, but also for telecommunications, for dropping bombs. I don't know why Amazon, they don't use even balloons, for the shipping.
Right. I think they'll eventually say that they will.
I thought it was curious that on the map it said that 2 balloons returned to Japan. 2 of these bomb balloons came back. Like,
maybe, could be making the complete circumnavigation of the Earth, or maybe they return in another jet stream, underneath or below the.
Yeah, it's interesting that would be a way of returning. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, that doesn't work on a ball. But
I mean, I don't know if it works. The problem with the ball and the gases is that they cannot recreate a spinning ball with gas and having different current in the wind, because
different directions.
Different direction, exactly. If you take a ball and make spin and you put gas without a container, with a container, because you need to put a container to simulate, something, because if you need something to retain the gas, and you're trying to simulate what we see in real life, it's impossible. You are not going to recreate that, even with if you're trying to simulate maybe different temperatures or something like that. I don't believe it's possible to do something like that.
And let's see, what else did you guys see this video? I don't know if you guys saw this one. This guy goes up. I can't bring it up here. What's going on? Where is it? There we go. Have you seen this one where the guy goes to the Michael J. Smith or Michael Smith from the Challenger? Have you seen this?
Oh, I've seen this. I saw that.
I've got some footage that I'm excited to share with you. The footage is of retired University of Wisconsin Emeritus Professor Michael J. Smith. Those of us who have taken the time to peel back one of truth's protective layers have surely come across this image here. The story goes that 7 of the astronauts who died in the 1986 Challenger explosion are alive and well. And the pilot, Michael J. Smith is a professor emeritus at UW-Madison. Because I live in the Madison area, look.
And by the way, let me just show real quick so people can see whose channel this is from. This is from Stars Not Far 432. He's got 952 subscribers. And it says, in this video, I asked Michael J. Smith if he is the same guy that was said to have died in the Challenger explosion. Let me know what you think. Hey, at least he's nice to him, right? I mean, you didn't go up and give him a hard time. Let's
let me know what you think.
It was a very cordial interaction.
Yeah.
Hey there. Hey, sorry to bother you. I was pulling out and I saw you. I just came by to. Are you Michael Smith?
Yeah.
Professor at university?
Retired.
Retired?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just stopped by because there's this room. Are you aware of that? There's a rumor on the internet.
It's not me.
That people are saying.
Yeah, it's not me, obviously. I mean, anybody that looks at my background, looks where I was born, it's not me. I mean, it's interesting that the Michael J. Smith that was the astronaut looks something like me when we were younger, but really not if you really look at facial recognition.
You never been a pilot, never been in the military?
Nothing like that.
Huh.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
And I don't respond to the emails I get. I get probably an email, maybe 2 a month.
Really?
Yeah, and I got one guy that's been really hounding me, and I turned it over to the FBI.
Really?
You know, yeah. I mean, it's bullshit.
Okay.
You know, another crazy theory.
Okay.
But that's
And that part I thought was interesting there for me. Didn't it seem interesting that he wouldn't say conspiracy theory? I don't know. That's just me. Let's keep going.
You know, not me.
All right.
I'm glad I wasn't him, but he was quite a guy.
Yeah.
You know, but if you look at my career, you look at my CV that's online, all the stuff I've published, all that I've done, it's not even close to what that guy was.
Okay. Yeah, you just sure look a lot. It's the same name.
I know the facial thing, but that's what we looked like. What? 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
This is the only thing that I think is funny is that he refers to him and the other Michael Smith as we look like. This is how we look like. That's the only thing that I think is odd about what he's saying here. Mm-hmm. Who knows? He's too old now for you to make a meaningful comparison, and you know, obviously he's safe enough for him to just deny it. But it's also possible that it might be just a coincidence. I don't know what you think. I think that, you know, it is in the, I think he does put some clips of the other guys speaking as well there. And, you know, it's up for people who know how to make kind of spectral analysis with voice to do that and see if there's a relationship. But
and
I
also,
think,
the government has a witness protection program, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to change your ID, they could do that, but maybe just isn't a coincidence and nothing more than that.
It could be. I mean, I've voiced before that, you know, I know everybody's big on the Judith Resnick thing, but I found that video of Judith Resnick in 1980-something, late 80s, at a congressional thing where, to me, it's clear that it's not the same person. Again, to each their own, right? I mean, you know, to me, it just seems like that's a coincidental name thing. Maybe those people did die. Maybe some of them died. I don't know. You know, that's the thing about, you know, the truth. When you're searching the truth, sometimes, I don't know, maybe it was RV yesterday who was talking about it being such a huge puzzle. And sometimes it's, you know, if you look at a 10,000 piece puzzle and you've got only a few pieces to put together, you're never going to actually see the truth. You know, you have to take time to put a lot more of these pieces together. Thank you for the super chat from Miguel Beaumont and Plain to See. Jaren is ace. Hey, appreciate that. Thank you so much. And yep, so that's that, but people can check out that video. I will put the link to that in the description as well if people want to watch that. What other nonsense did I see today? I don't know if you guys saw this story. Astronomers spot 2-star system spinning so fast it's bending space and time. So funny because I see the word video in the article. You know, you're like, oh, it's a video? And then you realize this is what they're showing you here is this video. It's like, oh, thanks for that. That's not the video I was thinking that I was going to get to see. Although I thought...
It's another cartoon?
Of course, right? If it says video, it's like, okay, great. I mean, I should do videos like that, right, where I say, you know, I don't know, Greta Thunberg gets, you know, hit in the head with a hammer, video, and then draw a cartoon of it,
Yep.
It's not a video.
So that's the bending of space and time then.
Yeah, it says astrophysicists spend their time working on some truly mind-bending stuff. Oh, don't they? But after 2 decades of observation, scientists have witnessed a pair of stars spinning so fast they literally bend both space and time. I love how they put literally in here, as if it's been proven. They know this is true. The team has been tracking the orbit of the extraordinary binary star for 20 years using the Cicero Parkes Observatory 64-meter radio telescope. But they've caught these spinning celestial bodies frame dragging, or in other words, twisting both space and time with their immense gravity. And the video, it's probably too small for people to see, is just this little thing going around this thing and then some flares coming out from it. So that's the video.
But nice colors, like composite image.
I like the pink.
Nice equilibrium. You know?
And you got the stars dragging in the back. I don't know what these beams of light are supposed to show. I guess that's I don't know. This is a white dwarf.
So that happens. What distance does that happen? Some 1,000 light years away, or very far away, or that's it's very convincing. Everything, when things start getting, the farthest they get from us, the more they become like computer animations.
Well, of course,
it's one of the things
they have to. Right, and then when you look at the distance, it says the
mathematical relationship.
Yeah.
And then they say things like this. The other is a neutron star, which is somehow about 100 billion times the density of Earth. Simply that's impossible. That's when you're talking mathematics. It's the same thing when they say, oh, this a teaspoon of neutron star weighs 22 billion pounds.
It's so easy to measure. They have the weight. They have the quantum balance scale.
Right. We got another super chat. Thank you very much from Frank Vitucci, who said, what does the NUR stand for? And NUR para todos stands for light. Light for all. It's actually NUR.
Well, it's not light, NUR itself. If you look in the translation from Arabic language, it's going to say light, but not light in terms of Luciferian or things like
Masonic,
that. It's
Masonic, the light. That's what they want. The Masons, they seek for the light.
Yes, exactly. But the fact is, when I start hearing about the meaning of NUR, it's also came from the word north instead of nur with an O letter in the middle. And the word north.
Spell it. He spells it. What does the NOR, N-O-R, stand for in NOR para todos? I don't know if he's referring to that or if he just misspelled it.
It's the same thing. In fact, north, the word north, which is in Spanish is norte, it means center light.
Okay. Makes sense.
So, in fact, for example, the word news, when we talk about, hey, I have news stands for north, east, west, and south.
Correct.
It's related in that sense, the word NUR para todos, NUR for everyone. But you can take it as you want.
Take it however you want, yeah. So this is the video. I did find the bigger one, but it's so funny how it starts out showing, here's where our radio telescope is, and here's what it's seeing. It's seeing this star, which I guess is rotating this way, and then this must be dragging the space and time.
I say, what is all that? What's the?
I don't know. I guess that's what it looks like when you. What this
is
thing
that
calls
the bendy space time?
Yeah, that's it. So we finally found it.
How difficult would it be for them to actually show you what they actually supposedly observed?
It should be simple.
The actual data.
Right, should be simple, right? But again, it would just be data. That's what these guys do. They just take data and then they draw pictures with it. Right. And again, with mathematics, you can say anything. We talked about, remember we were looking at that gravity thing where the lady was putting marbles inside the fabric of space-time, and I was describing exactly what the whole idea of a black hole is, where you have this infinite density, and I might even have like I said, I read every day these Quora post just because I'm trying to see if anybody can make sense of anything, and the most recent one is classic. Let me see if I have it here. Let's see, it would be in here. Didn't I flag it? Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I flagged it. Yeah, I did. All right, so this is the question and the answer. You ready for this one? The question is, do black holes sorry, I had to click on it. Do black holes actually have infinite density, or is it just that the relevant equations approach infinity and we don't know what they actually mean at that point? So then this is a physicist that comes to answer this, and he says, let me tell you a secret. The equations that describe some of the simplest black hole solutions, including the Schwarzschild black hole, are, drumroll please, equations of general relativity in the vacuum. Yes, that's right, the vacuum. There is no matter. The density is zero everywhere. The Schwarzschild solution is the simplest, spherically symmetrical, static vacuum solution of Einstein's field equations. So why do we blabber about the mass of a black hole then? Well, these vacuum solutions are singular. What that means is that there are some points where the curvature of spacetime, which is really what we are solving for, goes infinite. These points are not actually part of the solution. It's just like the point at x equals 0 is not the part of the function y equals 1 over x. Still, these missing points can be parameterized, and in the case of the Schwarzschild solution, that parameter role plays the role of mass. Nonetheless, at no point in spacetime where the solution is actually defined is the matter density anything other than exactly 0. So what is this thing? It just goes on. It's so ridiculous. I mean, you're trying to read this, like, what are they even talking about? Combine this with what we know about Hawking radiation, and I am really venturing into speculative territory here, but still, the black hole may never form. So we may never need to worry about singularities or event horizons as physical objects. But we really don't know.
Yeah, well, he's saying it's all made-up math.
Right,
he's essentially saying how it's all made-up math, and how basically they're turning some of the holes in the theory into essentially mass, or they're just making it up. And he says, well, black holes may not even form. It's not anything because there's zero density everywhere.
Right.
We may not need to worry about it.
We may not need to worry about it. It's so dense that it's actually 0, but it's infinite density. So, I mean, this is how confused they are, that we can't even determine whether we're talking about 0 mass or infinite mass. Imagine that. 0 density or infinite density. You can't even pull that out. It's just hilarious.
Well, that's the frontier to the next multiverse.
Oh boy, and that whole thing.
To the next bubble in the beer. Next bubble in the beer.
Oh, antimatter, of course, right.
Yeah, but did you know who was the guy who invented? Because it's not a discovery. You need to separate the word discovery from invented. When you discover something, it's because nature already has, and you discover, Mother Nature. But when you invented something, it's because it's not in the nature. It's not, something to discover. So the guy who invented the antimatter concept was a mathematician called Paul Dirac. I don't know if you heard about it.
The name doesn't sound familiar to me. What did you say his name was?
Paul.
P-O-L?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Dirac. D-A-R-A-C.
Paul Dirac. No, I've never heard of him.
Well, that guy, because I'm gonna try to explain, but it's a little difficult. But supposedly, in the Big Bang cosmology, we have 5% of matter, in contrast with the 70% of black matter and the black energy. The problem is that you need, in this symmetrical kind of concept of the universe, supposedly you must have 50% of matter and 50% of antimatter. Supposedly by the mathematicians and the astrophysicists to cancel out and have this zero equilibrium for everything. But they don't see that in nature. They don't see that kind of equilibrium or that symmetrical behavior of the universe. Yeah. So they start invented this, it's because it might be something called antimatter. So these guys start making equations trying to, fit together the quantum physics with the cosmology of the Big Bang and all this nonsense. And when you go to the biography of this guy, and we present this in Madrid, and when you start reading about how the hell he came with that idea, all the history, all the article talks about that he listened the equations. He has the power to listen what the equations tell him, and he proposed. He said things like that. For example, quote: "A mathematician is a person that play a game with the rules that he invented."
Right.
Yeah, so you're never going to lose that game,
Yeah.
That is the guy behind the antimatter concept and all this. When you put in your video, Sharon, the Loren Krauss explaining that you can have things from nothing.
Right.
Well, it's this guy.
Something out of nothing.
Right.
it's from this guy.
According to this, it says the most beautiful equation is the Dirac equation. And by the way, it's Paul, Paul, and then Dirac.
Well, sorry.
No. Just telling people if they want to search it themselves so they don't search, fruitlessly. One equation brings together the two cornerstones of modern physics, quantum mechanics and relativity. And here's the equation. The Dirac equation predicted the existence of antimatter, which, Iro, tell me how much antimatter have they found?
None. Because it's antimatter, so you can find it because it's not in existence.
Well, Chris Hadfield says that they collect it in the International Space Station.
Oh boy!
When they go to the bathroom.
It's in his book.
But no, it's really. I have the article here, but it's in Spanish, and of course, if I press just translate it to English, it's going to be a good translated, translation. But if you want to get fun. Really get fun. Read the history behind this guy and how he came across with the idea of antimatter and things like that, and its purposes. I mean, it's fantastic.
So how is he connected to secret societies and stuff, or is he just a stooge in a whole?
No. I read it something with my friend, the mathematical professor that participate in our conference, Daniel Marquez, and we find some root connection with Freemasonry. Yeah. In fact, today, for example, in the Albert Einstein Museum, it was a picture on the wall that when Albert Einstein received his certificate from the university, and two of his friends was with the hand covered with the jacket. In the picture, right. The Jesuit order give to the world the cosmology, the astronomical unit, and all this Big Bang theory, and the Kabbalists give the quantum physics to the world. So that is why they are so connected, because the quantum physics was invented by the Kabbalah with the Sephirot and all that kind of things, and the Jesuit order, they give us the astronomical cosmology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have those telescopes, right? It's one of the things that you've been researching, the different kinds of telescopes with the different kinds of lenses. Because when we look at the ones that have just a mirror, right, with one lens, those are not powerful at all. But when you combine lenses in different ways, you can get super powerful telescopes. And they have some of their 3D telescopes, if I'm not wrong. I'm not sure it's the one called Lucifer. Have you looked into that?
Oh, that's the binocular telescope. Yeah.
In Arizona, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's next to the Planck Institute and is shared with the Vatican. And of course, the Vatican, all the astronomers, that is why I tell you before, the astronomers are Jesuit and the quantum theorists are Kabbalists.
Right.
And it's done. All the machines that supposedly research about particles are from Zionists in place like Switzerland. For example, in Geneva, we have the CERN. And when you go to the astronomical things, you go with all these telescopes that belong to all these orders. And
Vatican Jesuits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, crazy. Because some people are claiming that you could see some beings in these other wavelengths with some of these telescopes. They're ground-based. But that's something else. But one thing I was wondering about those flying telescopes that you're showing, either the one that goes on balloon. What is it exactly that they observe? I'm very curious about this because there's supposedly telescopes on airplanes as well. But we know that when a telescope, a regular telescope, any vibration, anything you do next to it, you're going to get this thing out of focus, not going to be able to catch an image. So how do they do it in a balloon or an airplane? And how do they focus?
Supposedly they used, and we talk about this some episodes, in the past here on Globebuster, that they have this invention called the adaptive optics,
right.
Which is this method not only for use in planes or in balloons, but also from the ground-based telescope when they need to, find the balance with the distortion in the upper atmosphere.
They predict it with an algorithm.
And I don't think that it's something impossible to do. This kind of moving mirrors that
moving mirrors.
But when you see in the computer animation, when you see the explanation in terms of the graphic, in the motion graphic that they present us, you see some kind of super extreme movement up and down with the mirrors, but in real life that is super
tiny.
Yeah, super tiny, because it's
an
not
adjustment.
Break the mirror. I mean, it's not so exaggerated as you see in the descriptive way to teach us how this adaptive optics works.
Right.
So
it's funny because of the Hubble as well. Right, because Hubble, they had a little bit of a problem that they had to fix it. They had a whole bunch of, I'm talking about, like, they had blurred images, and then they had a spacewalk, and then they fixed it, and they had much better, because that, and then they have this technology, the adapted optics, but still, like the telescopes on the Earth, they're kind of stationary and not in their model, but the ones that are flying, how do they do to make a long observation of it? I don't know, because I haven't seen the actual.
And remember that they show in the Sophia plane how it works, but also Sophia, it's a radio telescope. It's not an optic telescope. So I assume that maybe you have some advantage from trying to focus something in terms of the optics way, in opposition with the radio telescope, where you're trying to find, trying to observe all these gases and then the hydrogen and things like that. So maybe after all, it's under computer processing.
Right.
So if you go to Photoshop right now and you have a picture a little blurry, you can use a filter called sharpen, and this process is going to start to give you some focus and some more detail in the picture. So after all, it's something like that. The computer is going to recreate the unseen parts of the out of focus part of the image.
Yeah, that's true. I was watching a video a few weeks back about these large telescopes and how they get the images they get, and like how they handle the big mirrors and all that stuff. And literally in the video, 2 different times, the guy says, he's like, well, how do we get these images? Well, it's magic. They literally call it magic in the video 2 separate times. And he's talking about how they have all these different telescopes and they sort of link them all together through interferometry. So they have like 3 big telescopes and then 4 smaller telescopes. And then they take all the pictures and they layer them all together and blah, blah, blah. And poof, magic, you get this.
And then they're processed by computers, I'm sure. Oh, man. The whole antimatter thing just drives me crazy. I was just looking up, have they found antimatter? And it says humans have created only a tiny amount of antimatter. So when somebody tells me that, when somebody says, Jaron, that humans have created a little bit of antimatter, when I think a little bit, what are you thinking of? A truckload or something? It's like, no. Humans have produced only a minuscule amount of antimatter. All the antiprotons created at Fermilab's Tevatron particle accelerator add up to 15 nanograms. So why do they say things like that? It's because people see that and they're like, oh, well, that's a little bit of antimatter. Well,
it's proof. It's there.
Yeah, do the math on, a dime weighs I just had it up here, 2.268 grams. So let's say 2.3 grams or whatever, right? And if you look at what 15 nanograms it would be, it's 1.5 to the negative 8. So I brought up this here just to show. There we go now. There. This is how much grams. Remember, a dime weighs 2.3 grams. And this is how many grams of antimatter they say they've made in these particles. Are you kidding me? And yet they say that every bit of matter has an antimatter out there and they cancel each other out. And it's just nonsense to me. I mean, look at that number.
And they measure.
And they measure.
They have a balance. They have a balance. I don't know which is the name in English. The machines to put things on top and get the weight.
Right.
And they measure that.
And it says those made at CERN amount to about 1 nanogram. So, put in 1 nanogram here instead. So at CERN, they've made 1 to the negative 9. Of course, you could just change that if you want to do 1 to the negative 9, which,
It is a thing. It is quite possible because now I remember what Edon is referring to, which is a bunch of astrophysicists like Lawrence Krauss and some others talking about the Kabbalah itself and how the Kabbalah has everything that quantum physics has, and how it's so similar. It read quantum physics and it sounds like a Kabbalah book. And it might very well be that they have, occultist playbook behind the scenes from what's the next step on their physics BS cosmology. What do you think, Ido?
Well, in front of me, I have a book, and I'm going to put my webcam. So I believe you are looking to me. But here we have a book that was a gift from a woman in the Madrid conference, and it's not the first that I have, because I have one or two of these books. This is in Spanish, and it's called. Let me make a focus, because I don't know why the camera is out of focus.
Maybe got the Skype thing on that turns your background.
I have the like the algorithm from Skype to recreate.
Background focus.
Yeah.
Background.
So there you go.
That's better.
The Forbidden Universe.
Yes, it's the Forbidden Universe, and it's in Spanish, of course. But this book talks about the occultist origins of the modern science.
Wow.
Right.
And this book has a lot. This was writing from scholars, people, not from a flat earther or something like that. No, it has all the index with all the biography at the end of the book. Just let me show you.
And is it translated or is it written in Spanish?
No, it's a translation. It's a translation. It originally is from England. But you have all the biography, all the articles that is quote in the books and things like that. And
what's the author again? Sorry.
The author is Lynn Pignett and Clevie Prince. I'm gonna send you then a picture, because maybe it's attractive to read. But the book itself, all the book, and it's not from flat Earth cosmology, nothing like that. It's just the occultist root of the modern science. And he said here all the quotations and all the biography that they use, that Isaac Newton, Johannes Kepler, Galileo Galilei, all these guys, they have roots with the Kabbalah and the occultist lodge. And they it's not something that you need to be careful what you say. No, it's completely in the biography. They don't even question that or hide that. They say that all the things that all these big ideas of the music of the spheres and things like that, they just had the intuition and or based in the magical books and magical backgrounds. It's not based on any proven thing here on Earth. And in fact, what you say before about the Kabbalistics guys that they say, I have here, and if you want to, I can play for the record.
Sure.
I'm going to make my first share screen. So let me know if I'm presented.
Let me get it up for you. Yeah, good.
Okay, because Jeran, I know that this guy Michio Kaku is one of your best friends, because you use it all the time.
Yes.
This guy, when you need to talk about aliens, Michio Kaku is there. Mm-hmm. When you need to talk about Kabbalists, Michio Kaku is there. When you need to talk about the theory or string theory, this guy is everywhere. Mm-hmm. And of course, he said these kind of things.
We do know that Isaac Newton had access to certain mystical texts, certain texts of the Kabbalah.
So this is a short version. I trying to find the longest version, but right away, it has like they don't say something like, well, we believe that Isaac Newton have access to certain kind of occultist books. No. They say directly Kabbalah. Mm-hmm. It's with that precision. It's not based on, well, maybe this, maybe that. No, it's the Kabbalah, not other kind of teachings.
Right. But I think this documentary was on the Kabbalah, right? The whole thing was on the Kabbalah. So they were asked to at least, they're asked to say something about it, but then they know a lot about it, apparently.
Yes, and then I have here. Sorry for this. I believe it's here. And then you have these extractions, because if from the documentary, which is more biggest than this only 2 minutes that I'm going to play, but I believe that here is going to be more. Let me go a little more down. Sorry for this.
Oh, I know.
Unorganized material.
No, it's okay. I actually now recognize some of these authors for the Forbidden Universe. One of them wrote the Templar Revelation, which I remember. Okay.
Yeah, I just was looking at the books, so what we can get. Yeah, there's some stuff about on UFOs as well, a bunch of different things.
Yeah, I was believing that I have in the beginning of my presentation, but for some reason I am not find it. I don't want to prolong the find. So maybe if you want to continue, and it's here.
No,
it's here.
We know, there's one thing that, if I may say, one last thing, is that we know that at least in the history of anthropology in the 1900s and early 20th century, there was a guy, Maus, talking about, there has a book called Theory of Magic. And in that book, he really makes a direct connection between religion and science, how they're actually doing pretty much the same thing, coming up, and how one fed out of the other, essentially. But it is a small book dealing with a bunch of other aspects. But, he basically saying that scientists are like wizards because they come up with explanations for things that they're hard to confirm, and all based on how you construct information about the universe, especially. But, yeah.
I play the video.
Yeah. I'm a theoretical physicist, and I like to say that I walk in the footsteps of giants like Albert Einstein and Niels Bohr. I'm not a philosopher. However, I am rather dazzled by the fact that many of the basic mysteries that we find in string theory and the theory of everything seem to be mirrored in the Zohar and in the Kabbalah.
As a scholar, the most amazing thing of all is the degree to which modern astrophysics sounds like a Kabbalistic text.
When I first made the correlations between Kabbalah and science, I was stunned.
We do know that Isaac Newton had access to certain mystical texts, certain texts of the Kabbalah.
Well, the Kabbalistic description of creation is coming from a single little point, from a speck, and of having matter form and time and space form all together at the very beginning. This sounds very much to me like the description of the Big Bang.
I couldn't believe that the Kabbalists could derive these truths without really knowing any mathematics or physics.
All the things that could destroy string theory, all the things that do destroy every rival theory to string theory, they are all eliminated in precisely 10 and 26 dimensions. These dimensions are magic.
These dimensions are magic.
Yeah, this is a little bit, I think that they go even beyond the Kabbalah, I think they are kind of, they are misrepresenting the Kabbalah here. Obviously, the Kabbalists knew about numbers. It's ridiculous to think they didn't know about mathematics. But, there's a whole other matter. I think taboo conspiracies here, Ben. But yeah, if just I'm just thinking here because look at his face. He looks kind of a little bit scary. It's like glazy eyes. 26 dimensions.
But they say these dimensions are magic.
Yeah.
and not just the Michikaku. Then the other guy that is going to come right now, he said the same thing. Take a look.
The Zohar says those things. It could have been a lucky guess. I don't know.
It's rather amazing. The uncanny reflection of some of the most advanced cosmology that are mirrored in the Zohar and ancient Kabbalistic texts.
And, it's really strange that they talk about Kabbalistic text. All the Sephiroths and all. That is why when you go to history, it's simply Jesuit order with the cosmology and Kabbalistic with quantum physics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very strange. This whole Kabbalistic model, which mirrors kind of the chakra system. This is way older than it's a thing from the East, from the Hindus or so-called Hindus. but Vedics, the idea of mantras and so on, and chakras, that you can actually observe them in your body. But Kabbalah takes it in a different direction, and also with the occultists in the 19th century, I think is a trap what they had with the Theosophists. With Blavatsky and those people, because they're inventing this narrative, this racist narrative of an Aryan race that is superior, and that they are driving towards this kind of Superman, and it all has to do with you following them and their version of these texts from Eastern traditions that they claim to understand. So it becomes a kind of trap for all the scholars in the West. So if you go to a university, the learned people, your friends, they'll all be going in some society. You have to join them there. And then you get, somebody's going to start pushing, theosophy on you. And you think those are the mysteries of the universe. Like these guys, you think, the Kabbalah is so deep. These Big Bang is being described. But, like in the beginning of the Mahabharata, they have a very complex description of early cosmology that, also could be put into that category. Probably is much more interesting than these astrophysics tests that they are claiming are so interesting. They sound like Kabbalistic texts and so on. It's a little bit. It makes me kind of, I don't know what you think. It makes me queasy to look at how many adjectives they throw. It's amazing, sensational, la la la. It's like there's no information. It's just them being dazzled with this BS.
Yeah, they're just trying to sell it. And then they like to use that word magic a lot, like what I was just saying when they're describing how the telescope works.
Right, so amazing. Yeah, all you have to look at is the whole, we go over it all the time, but how they came up with the distance of the sun. You have to imagine somebody on Earth looked up and saw Venus and said, okay, well, Venus is the same size as Earth, and then gets it right. I mean, come on. It's so ridiculous. Like, of all the planets that you look up in the sky and see, Jupiter, and then just to estimate that one of them is the same size of Earth, and then we can watch it cross the sun, and we can come up with the distance, and it's just magic. And he said it. He got it right by chance. There's zero chance he got that right. But again, people will believe anything these guys just come out and call it magic, and people buy it. All right. So
completely. Yeah.
So we have Ben on. Ben, are you there? Let's see if we can get Ben.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are. What's up, Ben? How are you?
Good. How you guys doing? Sorry I missed the beginning of the show.
No problem.
When I get a video in my mind, I just got to finish it.
I know how that goes.
I'll never finish it.
I know how that is. So I guess I'm going to bring up your video here if I can find it. Iru, I'm going to stop your sharing real quick here.
Perfect.
And we are trying to keep the show short, so we'll see if we can actually do that. Let me share my screen. Hold on. Let's see here. I'm trying to find. Did you send it in what chat? I saw you send it.
The Globebusterish chat.
Good. Oh, here you got it. I got it. All right. So why don't you tell us what we're going to be watching first before we check out this world premiere video? Oh, nice little Super Bowl image to start it off. Thank you.
Well, anyway, I did want to tell everybody about the experience last Sunday. That was a lot of fun. I was over there at the Bear Lake.
Oh yeah,
it's a big lake between Idaho and Utah, and I was on the Utah side. Others went Wendell, and others went to the north side, and we could see the laser 18 and a half miles, and so I mean, I just impressive.
Over and over again.
Amazing how you can see this far, and there's just no global explanation that can account for that. When we did this was in freezing conditions, just to again show that it doesn't matter what the weather, the conditions, freezing, over land, whatever, the globe does not work. It fails every time.
Right.
But for this video, this is just I apologize. I end up, I repeat myself a lot in all my videos, but this is just a repeat to address the black swan. I don't know if everyone understands what the black swan is, but it's...
well, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. Karen kind of described it, but go ahead and give your version of it, and then we'll get to watch your video.
Okay, well, anyway, BLMLSB 69, he did a great observation years ago, actually, where he brought his camera down to 1 foot, and he filmed these 2 different platforms. You'll see it in the video. And you can see the horizon is beyond 9.4 miles when it should have been closer than 1.2 miles. And absolutely, the horizon, which the globe believers believe is a physical edge, our visible physical edge of the globe, does not exist whatsoever. And if there is no globe horizon, no physical edge, then you can't have a globe. It's that simple.
I remember you one time saying, and I can't remember what the exact number was, but do you remember what you said when you said if the horizon is where we see it, and that's the leading edge of the globe, then the Earth is a certain amount bigger than they've told us? What was that?
Yeah, 67 times bigger.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. That's ridiculous.
It's a huge impact to have that where there's absolutely no curvature over that 9.4 miles. It changes everything. You can do that with the Pythagorean theorem, and in that case, with that video, if you extend that observation, that horizon out to 10 miles, which is probably actually further. But if you extend it out to 10 miles, that would produce a radius of the Earth at a size of 264,000 miles, which, I mean, come on. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, what I'm just basically addressing is this just an abnormal event that BMLSB 69 caught the special fairy dust day where the magical fairies remove the curvature, or is this just a standard what we see when we go out there and we do testing? And so that's what the video is about.
All right, so let's everybody watch the video. It's 11 minutes and 12 seconds. We're going to watch the whole thing, and then at the end of that, we'll just say our goodbyes and call it a short show. Was there anything else anybody wanted to talk about before we watch Ben's video? Anybody there? Okay.
No.
All right.
No.
So we'll check it out, and then we'll say our goodbyes after that, and let everybody enjoy their Sunday. Here we go, and thanks, Ben, for letting us premiere this right here, right now.
It's Super Bowl Sunday. Yes, it's a meaningless sports match that I don't care about. But I do care about the fight for truth and liberty, and the fight against intellectual, mental, physical, and spiritual tyranny that is encapsulated within the phony globe, fake space, and the heliocentric model. Before I begin, I just wanted to quickly point out the great work and videos by Quantum Eraser, Nathan Oakley, Mitchell from Australia, and the Ballbusters. The links will be in the description. Please head over there and subscribe. Their work covering this video from BMLSB 69 has been fantastic, and it needs to be seen everywhere. Without reasonable question, this is indisputable evidence that the actual observable apparent horizon is a geometric impossibility under the globe model. At an observation height of only 1 foot, under the globe model, the visible edge of the globe, which the globe supporters refer to as the horizon, would have to be closer than 1.2 miles. This is their math. Again, the globe supporters believe the horizon is the observable, tangible, physical edge of the globe that marks the point at which objects begin to supposedly disappear behind the curvature. But you don't have to take my word for it. Here's a mainstream globe supporter describing what the horizon is under the globe.
Have you ever been standing at the edge of water, say like an ocean, and looked down on the horizon and said, I wonder exactly how far away that horizon is? You know, where the sky meets the sea, that's the horizon. Well, it turns out because the Earth is curved that it depends on where you're standing and how far above water you're standing. So if your eyes are 8 inches above the water, right then you're about a mile away from that horizon point where the sky meets the ocean as far as you can tell. If you're standing up above water and you're like I am about 6 feet tall, that means your eyes are about 5.5 feet above the water's edge, which means that you're about 3 miles away from the horizon. Isn't that amazing? Going from 8 inches above water, 5.5 feet above water, is the distance between 2 miles between you and the horizon. Mind-blowing, if you ask me.
You heard it, and the globe supporters can't spin out of this one. Globalists believe, without any supporting evidence, that the horizon is the tangible, physical, observable edge of the globe, and the claim is utter nonsense. But remember, our globe supporter said at 8 inches, or 0.67 feet, that the horizon would be 1 mile away. Well, at least his math is correct according to this distance to the horizon calculator. He also stated that at 5.5 feet, that the horizon would be 3 miles away. Again, and to his credit, his math is roughly accurate. But both statements are actually incorrect under the globe model, as the 1 mile and 5.5 mile references would be the maximum distances to the globe horizon, because the calculator is based on a presupposed and unrealistic perfect glass-like conditions with no miraging, atmospheric distortion, opacity, compression, haze, waves, swells, mist, etc., which would only reduce that supposed distance to the horizon. Looking back at BMLSB-69's footage and using the same official globe math, at an observation height of 1 foot, the maximum distance to the alleged physical horizon under the globe would have to be closer than 1.2 miles. You don't have to be a math genius to recognize the problem with the globe here. The visible horizon that was filmed on video extends further than 9.4 miles. Yes, this one single video destroys the globe, and all of the higher propagandists out there can't save it. But I do respectfully take issue with Quantum Eraser, Nathan Oakley, Mitchell from Australia, and the Ballbusters for referring to this globe-damning evidence as a black swan. Because this is not a black swan. This is not an aberration. This is not a rarity. This is your every damn day swan. So long as there is no mirage, visibility is high, and the water is calm, the globe fails each and every time. So let's begin. For this first horizon test of mine, I was at the Great Salt Lake in Utah. I brought my camera down to just 0.4 feet off of the ground. The distant peninsula here was 1.34 miles away from the camera. Under the globe, the physical horizon would have to be closer than 0.8 miles. Instead, the horizon extends much further than 1.34 miles, thus disproving the globe model. Some of the globe supporters claim that I falsified the height of the camera with the last test, and so a few days later, I went back again to the same location to do it again, and I conducted the test from both sides with the same results. Don't you find it interesting that all of the famous globe supporters never tell you to go out and measure the alleged size of the Earth yourself? I wonder why. But for this next test, I brought the camera down to just a few inches above the water, and this was dangerous. I took my cell phone out and filmed the Nikon P900 as I filmed the peninsula at just inches above the water. Under the globe model, at just a few inches above the water, the horizon could not be further than a mere 0.7 miles away. That's the maximum horizon distance under the globe model. You can clearly see the horizon extending many miles further than possible under the globe model. Do you see how the globe fails miserably here? In addition to the platform's video earlier at 1 foot, BMLSB-69 also brought us other observations that can be used to prove that the true horizon is geometrically impossible under the globe. For this video, he's at an elevation of 105 feet. There are 3 oil platforms he's filming. The closest one is 10.9 miles, the second is at 21.9 miles, the third is at 26.4 miles. From that elevation, the horizon line could not be further than 12.6 miles under the globe. In other words, under the globe model, the horizon should appear before the second platform, and 59 feet of the second platform should be hidden by the alleged physical ball's edge. As you can see with your own eyes, the horizon is not only beyond the second platform, the horizon is beyond the third platform, further than 26.44 miles. According to the globe dimensions, 130 feet of the third platform should have been hidden below the horizon, but none of the platform is obstructed, and we know this since the horizon is beyond the third platform. We've seen footage from the Great Salt Lake and California. How about we examine some footage from Finland from YouTuber Velo42? In this case, the distant boat was 14.5 miles away from the observer, which was obtained by using marinetraffic.com. The observer's height was at only 2.5 feet above the water. Let's check out our globe calculator. That means the horizon would have to be closer than only 1.9 miles. You can see that horizon is further than the boat that was 14.5 miles away. How can you tell that the horizon is further than the boat? Because there's another large boat behind it, right here, that is very far away. Do you see it? Notice that this large distant boat is perspectively higher than the boat in front of it, which is another impossibility under the globe, as distant objects are supposed to get visibly lower from your angle, not higher. Is the globe busted? You bet it is. What about Florida? Does the globe horizon hold up in Florida? Wide Awake has probably a dozen videos proving the impossibility of the globe horizon. This is my favorite as he brought down his camera to just 2.5 feet above the water. Remember, at 2.5 feet, that globe physical edge must be closer than 1.9 miles. And you can see that the horizon is further than 11.6 miles, and he repeated this a few times. How about in Nova Scotia? Thankfully, James Mann showed us the globe fails the horizon test in Canada as well. In this case, this horizon was supposed to be closer than 11.2 miles, but the horizon is further than 27.3 miles. Again and again, the globe physical horizon fails. Without that globe physical horizon, there is no globe, as it's a mathematical impossibility. How about that dropping horizon mentioned earlier by the globe supporter? Fortunately, Felix Baumgartner busted that nonsense. Here's the horizon at approximately 10 feet when Felix entered the capsule. Here's the horizon line at 128,000 feet. The horizon did not drop one bit. The horizon impossibly rose with the camera, again disproving the globe model. Now do you understand why I think referring to this video by BMLS B69 as a black swan is not accurate? This flat earth proof is just an every damn day swan. So long as visibility is high, without a mirage, and the waters are calm, you will see that the globe physical horizon edge simply does not exist, and thus the ball earth does not exist. That is a fact. How much more evidence do you need? I don't know how to make this more understandable. The globe is a mathematical impossibility. It's that simple. I mean, you can choose to believe in magical refraction fairies that somehow impossibly remove very tall bulges of water and then cause those tall bulges of water to reappear many miles further away at even a higher perspective, while somehow leaving the physical objects in the middle unaffected by the fairy dust. Sure, you can believe in the globe fairies who have no other purpose than to trick you into believing in a flat earth by hiding the globe edge. But stay the hell away from me. I'm not interested in joining your messed up cult. But for the rational, intelligent, independently minded person, do you really believe that the horizon is the leading edge of the ball earth with a circumference of 24,901 miles that's zooming around in the vacuum of space? Or will you allow yourself to question your indoctrination? I don't want you to believe me. Do the math yourself. Check out the calculators, which are based on the globe math. Go out with a pair of binoculars or a telescope and test it for yourself. And if you get a chance, take a picture of that non-existent globe edge and send it to me. My email is tabooconspiracy@gmail.com. Love to everyone. Enjoy the meaningless game. Take care.
All right. Excellent job as always, Ben.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, really good
Thanks
job.
for sharing that.
No, glad you let us.
Fantastic.
Yeah, go ahead. Anybody got any comments?
It's nice, but it's nice and at the same time is once again one proof again, you know,
right, over and over again,
that destroyed the globe. But it's good because it's the only thing that we can do, you know.
That's all we can do. Yeah.
Keep going and keep presenting proofs with evidence, with observations.
Yeah, but it's definitely not a black swan. It is yeah, what Ben just saying is what happens everywhere. And he has shown a number of observations here, compared them, but I'm pretty sure Ben could have come up with dozens and dozens of others, you know.
Yeah, I actually had to eliminate him to get that video down to a reasonable time.
He's got that video on his channel, the 37 experiments that prove the Earth is flat. I mean, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of them.
Yeah.
Hey Ben, if somebody wanted to go out and do this themselves, how would you recommend? What do they need to look for as far as do you need to find a spot where there's a little kick out of land that you can measure the distance to? How would you suggest somebody do it?
Exactly. But it's very important to find water that can get very calm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't live near the ocean, but like the Great Salt Lake is a perfect place because that water can get dead still. Mm-hmm. And but at the ocean, you have to wait for those special days because, you know, waves. When you have waves out there, they create a new horizon because you're looking at the furthest resolvable wave,
right?
Not at an edge or anything like that. But so that's what I would recommend. Get on Google Earth, find a little areas of water that are calm. Maybe an inlet or something like that, and then just find a little piece of land that you could go out there and just see if you can see the horizon beyond it. That's all.
Absolutely great. Yeah, people need to do that. And, I've seen it. We just showed the same thing happening at the Salton Sea, and now they're showing. Just kind of seems to be the case that what we're noticing is that bodies of water are level, as we've been saying forever, and that there is no globe edge. We're able to see beyond that globe edge, which makes no sense. You can't, therefore you can't be on a globe. It just doesn't work. You can't
and
see multiple
it's everywhere.
edges.
In Italy, Finland,
Right.
Florida, California, Washington. I mean, it's everywhere. It's not just in. I'm not cherry picking certain spots. It's everywhere.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly. That's one of the things. And the fact that they try to gang up on Jay Tolan, for instance, shows how desperate they are, because they go for those observations that seem striking for a lot of people as well. But they ignore so many others that have been around for forever, like you say.
All right. Well, we've gone past the hour and a half. Let me go ahead and close down the show and just give each person a chance to say goodbye. And if they have anything coming up special, we'll start with Ben. Ben, I'm going to put this link to this video at the top of the description so people will be able to find it. I guess will you put it listed here shortly after? Or?
Yeah, I'll list it shortly.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
Not much else going on. Just making videos and try to share my observations that at least I took at Bear Lake. The only bad thing was my camera was sitting out there in the cold for so long that when I was ready to start doing the actual observations, it wasn't working very well. So I don't think it likes sitting out in the cold all day.
Well, imagine that. It's like the same thing with that American Moon documentary where they're talking about how cameras can't even function. And how cold was it there? Like 30, 20?
Yeah, 30 right. degrees or so.
So imagine our modern day cameras can't really deal with that kind of temperature. Why? Well, because they have too many parts that expand and contract, yet supposedly these guys were on the moon taking pictures with these cameras back in 1969, 70, 71, 72, and they worked fine in negative 250 degree temperature. If you would have walked from shadow to sun, the camera would have had to deal with a temperature difference of 500 degrees, negative 250 to positive 250.
And the radiation and the film would crack.
It's simply insane. I mean, you just go out there with your own camera. It's a modern-day camera made and manufactured in 2020 or 2019, and you're going to see that you have trouble getting that camera to work at 30 degrees, let alone negative 30, let alone negative 50, negative 100, negative 150 to negative 250. It's just stupid. It just would not work unless you are fabricating events and basically taking movies in somewhere in Arizona. So, all right, Ben, great job. Thank you so much. Let's see, Rodrigo. Rodrigo, anything?
Today I took it easy. Finishing an album that's going to come out. It's going to be interesting. I have to put it out tonight. Finishing my little newsletter, and keep moving and trying to keep up with everything. So it's great. Thank you for having me, Jaron. And
thanks for joining me for short Sunday show. It was fun. How about Karen? Karen, you got anything going on coming up?
Well, just my regular Tuesdays, I co-host Strange World with Mark Sargent on TFR, and then also Thursdays I do Unveiling This Realm with Brian Stavely. So check that out if you all get a chance.
Awesome. Love to hear that. Iru, anything going on with you? You coming home soon?
Well, we just arrived from the Einstein House and Museum, so I'm gonna have like 3 or 4 days of sleeping and trying to process the information we receive in that places. It's so too complicated.
So great
to grasp.
Did you kneel down and say a few prayers to Father Einstein?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
that was the first, and also include you and David because he's Jewish.
Thank you so much.
So we bring David with me all the time.
Good. He needs it. He needs some prayers.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So no, I just planning to upload some new videos to my NPT English channel. Oh, cool. And that I live I live away because I was so busy with the conference and then the Friday lunch and things like that, so I didn't finish the video that I started. So I hope maybe tomorrow or past tomorrow I'm gonna upload a new info in the English channel because I want to start making more more videos in English. I have a lot of information in Spanish that it's good research, and I didn't translate it in English, so I'm gonna take the time to do that. Okay. And the rest, I just when you finish a conference, you feel that kind of emptiness inside you, because you was with a lot of people surrounding 2 or 3 days, and then you need to get used to the normal matrix life. So I am in that process now.
Yes. I'm about to go to a Super Bowl party, so I'm entering the matrix for the next few hours. Should be interesting.
Sometimes
excursion.
Yeah, right. All right, and Iru, I don't know, would you ever be able to give your presentation that you gave over there in English if you want to do that on my channel?
Yes, that will be nice.
All right.
The only thing that maybe I didn't, I am not going to translate, make all the graphics again in English, but I can translate it live
you can
in
talk
my
through them, right?
own way,
I like it.
But that will be great if you help me and we can present in your channel. That will be great.
Sure, yeah, let's look at doing that. And as far as I go, check out this channel for tomorrow. Obviously, that's not on this channel, but on the Jeranism Raw show and TFR, that'll be with Dave Weiss. We have that going on. Of course, we have the Friday Lounge.
David's here.
Uh-oh. Did I forget to say Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app enough times? What happened? my hand.
I was just going to say, at your Super Bowl party, they're going to play the Ellen commercial, so make sure people are paying attention so you can get a Flat Earth plug in there.
Wait, what?
The Ellen has a Amazon Alexa commercial.
And it mentions Flat Earth.
Flat Earth commercial.
Well, why does it say? What does it say? I haven't heard this yet.
Mark Sargent mirrored it, but basically she says, what did people do before Alexa? And then it flashes back to the Dark Ages, and it shows a bunch of different, a bunch of different silly scenes. And one of them, the woman is cleaning clothes and asks the other maid to tell her something interesting, and she goes, "The Earth is flat," and a witch stole his pants.
Yeah.
So at least it'll flat smack people.
Absolutely, yeah,
definitely. No, I love that kid that says that all news is fake. So that was pretty good too.
Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah, I'm ready for it. My friends all know who I am, what I do. So some of them are on board, some of them not. It should be an interesting conversation. But like I said, Dave, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, Zodiac Clock app is the best tool, and it will be making an appearance numerous times during commercials at the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you for joining us, Dave. But and then people will check out my channel on Thursday for sure. We're doing a presentation by Ranty on my channel on Thursday, so keep an eye out for that as well. So all kinds of fun things going on. Dave, you have anything coming up? I told people if they have nothing else to listen to the remainder of the day, they can definitely check out your epic 5-day live. 5 hour. Seemed like 5
5 hours, not 5 days.
I cut it short of 5 hours. He was ready to go another 5.
Right. I've only got.
But if you listen at double time, it's only 2.5 hours.
That's true, and you sound intelligent at.
Super intelligent.
Super intelligent. Yeah, exactly. Twice, 2 times as intelligent. No, so that's what I've got.
By the way, Iru is like NASA. NASA says we're going to the moon, and they kick the can down the road, 2024, and now it's 2028. You know that, right?
Right, we talked about that Friday.
Says, I'm going to make more English videos.
Man, no.
Video comes,
I'm started. I have 5 videos.
No.
5 videos. How many videos you have in Spanish?
Oh, good point. Dave, I think it's a big zero.
I also wanted to do a bunch of translations, and so I didn't have time.
Rodrigo is the NASA guy.
Yeah, I'm NASA.
Is all the ending shows. He said, "I'm going to finish that. I'm going to finish that. I'm going to finish there." So I didn't say I'm going to finish. I'm going to upload it. So I don't even create it. But Rodrigo is finish all the time.
Right. And I'm like the theoretical physicist that always says, I'm thinking of doing this, and I'm thinking of doing that, and I've imagined doing this, and I've imagined doing that. It's fun to do that. You guys should try it. And thank you to all the super chats. We had 3 of them today. Appreciate that so much. Any final words, anybody? Dave, what's your prediction for the Super Bowl? You've got that.
I don't even know who's playing.
Oh,
Actually, I saw it on Ben's slide.
There you go.
So San Francisco and
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Is it Kansas City?
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought you might have some Kabbalistic prediction or something.
You know what's funny is that Joe Montana was the quarterback for San Francisco for so long, and then when they retired him, he went over to Kansas City and was a quarterback for them.
Right. It's true.
So the halftime show will be a satanic ritual to Moloch.
That's a lot. If you can find that prop bet out there somewhere, definitely take that.
Do you know that today is the 33rd day of the year?
No, that was yesterday.
Wait, what?
No, it's today.
Is it today?
It's today,
32. Yeah,
and because it's leap year, there's 333 days left in the year.
Wow, it's a lot of
and
33s.
It's 2/2/2020.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is.
That's kind of cool.
It's backward and forward the same.
And it's 1:46 p.m.
No, it's 4:48.
Oh, my
Yeah.
bad. Oh, that's right. My clock is wrong. Sorry, 1:48. That's true. Which adds a 13. Hey, what are you gonna do? All right, guys, it's been fun. Thank you everybody for joining us for a very short Globebuster Super Bowl
Amazing
Sunday short show. Yeah, we did it. It's pretty impressive.
We did it, man. We did it.
And I've got to get on the road, and I've got 2.5 hours of listening to Dave and RV to go. I'm excited. I only got through 2.5 last night, but I'll finish it up.
There was a problem with it was only showing 2 hours. It took a long time to render or something. So
processing
the full show is up now.
It's up now. Yep. So if everybody wants to check that out again, just go to Russian Vids. That's one word. I guess I should bring that up. There you go. Boom, boom.
Yeah, I have in my playlist.
You ready to go too?
Easier if you're doing it on your phone. Go to the app and click the video.
That's the easy way to do it too. Flatter, Sun, Moon, Zodiac Clock app. All right, thanks guys for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And like I said, lots of things coming up. And if you're looking for Globebusters, we will be back next Sunday on the regular Globebuster time on the regular Globebuster channel, and we'll have Bob back, and everybody will be very happy about that.
On the global 4-hour show.
Yeah, right, exactly. All right, guys, it's been fun. I appreciate it. Do your own research, because when you do, you'll never again believe what you've been taught. Till next time, guys, it's been Jeranism and all the guys at Globebuster-ish show. Peace. Oh, baby's crying. Peace.
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 Oops, I forgot to have the ending ready. There we go. Peace.